I'm Dan Drake. This is Front Up on Geno TV, Channel 99. With us today is Melissa Philbrick, the Executive Director of Remain Nantucket.
Good to be here.
Delighted to have you. A couple of things we want to talk about with you, if we may. The first one is the Music Center.
Yes.
And that is something you thought you would probably be pretty much done with by now, and unfortunately...
We should have been installing drapes. As it is, we're just restarting the rough mechanicals right now. Yes, we had a very tragic fire in February. Tragic in the sense that a lot of work had gone into the building, but lucky in the sense that no one was hurt and didn't affect any other properties around there, but a very significant fire for the project.
Remain owns the property, correct?
It's actually owned by an entity called Middle C, but yes, it's a project that we're working on and doing the renovation for, with the intention of leasing it to the Nantucket Community Music School and to the Nantucket Community School, so that they both have a place downtown for their programming.
Have you made any changes to the inside of the building as a result of this? Or you?
As a result of the fire, no. Lots of changes from the days of it being a B&B, but no, not as a result of the fire. In fact, the exterior is exactly the same. It was very, I think some people said, "Oh boy, you have an opportunity now. What would you like to do?" And we said, "No, no, no. We were content. We want the building to look as it did."
But what about not on the inside either?
Not on the inside either. The building lays out very simply, essentially, in terms of the uses floor by floor. I'm not sure much could have changed. And we were able to actually save a lot of the existing main mass of the building. The front facade, the Academy Lane facade, lost a lot of windows. Very sad, almost as much about the windows as anything else, because they had been just rebuilt by hand with a lot of old glass still, and those were lost in the fire. So.
There was a story going around, and I actually asked... never mind. There was a story going around that there was an insurance issue, that the builder's insurance certificate had expired. Is that not true?
I had not heard that story. Our insurance has been, we worked through Condon and Coleman, and they have been fantastic.
No, but the builders usually carry.
The building crew that was on site had provided us with certificate of insurance at the commencement of the job.
And they were all up to date and everything.
I haven't had to be involved in that. Our claim has been with our existing insurer, and then that gets subrogated against the others. So we have had nothing but a good experience with our insurance company, and then I do understand that it will flow from there in other ways. But as far as the project is concerned, the insurance, the builder's risk policy that we carried, has made it possible to go on as quickly as we have.
Well, what's the objective? You say it's going to be leased to the community music school. It's going to be leased to the community school.
Right.
What's the end game here?
Yeah, for us at Remain, it's all about having people in the downtown. It's all about education as a tenant of the downtown, and as people who come to the building being users of the downtown. So whether it's the multi-purpose space in the basement, where the ukulele band and the jazz band and the chorus will be able to have rehearsals, to a parlor where there'll be a grand piano where recitals can take place and 30 people can come and listen to the kids who have been taking classes on the second floor, where there's rooms for one-on-one teaching studios with pianos in them. There's the computer lab that exists at Greenhound. We'll move into the basement, so there'll be a possibility to do the Excel and Photoshop classes and other adult education that happens. And so we're hoping that the building is a hub for people to move in and out of, to take classes with their neighbors, meet new neighbors, meet in the hallway somebody that you didn't know was also interested in learning Italian, and have an experience where you are able to wait while your son has a music class, maybe go get a cup of coffee, go buy a book, walk around town, get out of the house, be in a group situation where you actually build some community and build some bridges within the community. So we think it will be a very vibrant part of the year-round downtown.
What's the completion date at this point?
Great question. I wish I knew for sure. I say fall, and then
I've been through that at the airport too.
Exactly, and then I remind people how chilly it can be on the first day of Christmas and first day of winter, because the fall goes for a long time. But we will know a lot better about completion dates once we get through the end of May. We have a prohibition on exterior construction that kicks in May 22. What we really need to happen is for the windows to arrive on island to be reinstalled, so that we can make the building weather tight. If we can make those deadlines, which it's May 13th, and I'm still saying if we can make those deadlines, then we will be able to be on track for a fall completion. And I'm hoping that I know that's not Labor Day, but I'm hoping that that's sometime in the middle of the fall.
good.
Yeah.
You mentioned that things are being moved from Greenhound. Is there some other plan in the works for the Greenhound building?
Oh, lots of thinking about the Greenhound building. The short-term plan, our hope is that we'll be able to be used as a classroom still, and that in its newest iteration, it will be able to be support for the University of Massachusetts Boston's programming. They have just done a pilot project, which I'm sure people have read about in the paper, where they had 18 students here January through April. They were able to use classrooms both at Greenhound, they shared it with the community school, and also at the Athenaeum. And we're hoping that we'll be able to make Greenhound more available to them for their programming in 2014.
Presumably it was successful enough that they're going forward with it?
I think so. Everything I hear, we're doing a sort of a debrief with the administration in 2 weeks. They'll have people here to talk about that. But the School for the Environment, I think, was a big success from UMass Boston's perspective, and they do want to have more students here and have that program grow. So
were they living out at the UMass Field Station?
They were not. There was intended to be some construction happening at the UMass Field Station, and our interest in the program really revolves around the idea of having people living and working, in this case learning, and eating and playing in the downtown. So they were actually at the Nantucket Yacht Club dorm at Whalers Lane for the winter, which we were excited to help them get moved into, and then moved out again before the workforce housing arrives. But yeah.
What were some of the specific projects that they were working on that you found particularly exciting?
You know, it's this concept of there being an integrated coastline, and they'll criticize me for not being able to say this better, not criticize, but take me to school for it. But, you know, the notion that the upland is connected to a salt marsh is connected to the shoreline and to the eelgrass, which connected to our fisheries.
Somebody wrote a song about that, didn't they?
Yeah, I know. I think I should do this better. But it is, and looking at it as an integrated ecosystem and trying to look at that. What's happening in our salt marshes, and most of these students have come from environments where, you know, everything that they see on Nantucket is incredibly vibrant and healthy. We worry about water quality and we worry about the impact on our fisheries, but compared to the water fronts that they've been working on and looking at, this is almost the controlled, healthy setting. So the projects, I think, that we're really looking at things that have an impact on the fisheries were ones that I found the most interesting.
Are they going to publish something?
Yeah, they had a presentation. They did an evening at the Great Hall where they all presented in teams of 3 or 4 their findings, and they also had a sort of poster presentation. And I believe that Geno TV has had recorded and is on the website for that 2 hours of presentations at the Athenaeum, and that there's an ability through the Green Harbors Project website to look at maybe some of the posters. But it's student work. It's good, but it's, you know, it's students really learning as they try to also teach.
Where are they in the spectrum of education?
They're undergraduates, juniors and seniors.
Juniors and seniors.
Yes, at the University of Massachusetts Boston.
Do you think they enjoyed the experience?
I think they did. I talked to had a number of chances to talk to the students at different times, and different students missed different things: skyscrapers, pool halls, places where you can play pool, and. A number of them just absolutely loved being able to go to the beach at night in January. You know, they had a challenging weather winter, so they were out in the field during some of those really cold, rainy, sort of gray days. They did a lot of work in the field, and that was, I think, interesting for a lot of them. I do think they enjoyed it. They were a wonderful group of kids. They really were incredibly respectful, I think, of the town. We had worked out an arrangement with several of the restaurants in town for discounts for them, and heard nothing but positive feedback back from those restaurant
There
owners.
was a group of them having dinner in a restaurant where my wife and I were, and I had no idea who they were until somebody pointed them out. They were extremely well behaved.
Very well behaved, really nice, and I think enjoyed getting to know each other. They didn't know each other before they got here, so they had come together and lived in fairly tight living quarters, and in a Nantucket in January, and seemed to do just fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Another project that you are not really involved in, but that remain funded, is the Actown
Yes.
project.
Absolutely.
Which is sort of reaching the end of phase one?
It is. There's a report. Rich Torres is running that office, and he has a report due out June 1st or thereabouts, where he'll really sum up what's gone on in the 8 months that he's been working here.
What is the aim of that effort?
Right. The idea behind the whole project was to look at what the downtown business community needs. How can we enhance the season for the business community? How can we make that a more viable business model for them, all of them, everyone, whether you're selling food or selling bedrooms or selling T-shirts or selling jewelry? I mean, what is it that it takes to make the economy stronger in the downtown, and by that matter for the island in general? And so Rich came to the island to learn about from the business community, and has been working with the business community in a lot of one-on-one meetings and small group meetings to look at what makes their businesses work or not work, as the case may be, and then to try to determine what a downtown manager, for lack of a better word, could do to do that on a full-time or a sustainable going forward basis. So he's come up with a series of ideas that have all been sort of growing out of these conversations this winter for what might improve the economic base fundamentally, and also in that sense the social base and what goes on in the town. But his charge is not only to sort of define the job, define what that office can be, but also to figure out how to structure it and then how to fund it. At Remain, our interest is to make this research, make this sort of boots on the ground inquiry happen, but then to charge Rich and his group that he's working with to look and find something that can be self-sustaining, that there's both political will to put it in place and economic resources, either within the community through existing organizations and existing funding or new sources of funding that are achievable. So he's going to put out a series of recommendations with several alternatives, and that's coming out, as I said, in June. And then the hope will be that over the course of the summer, he can, as the public has a chance to look at those recommendations and the people in the community he's been talking to look at them, he can refine that over the course of the summer. So there'll be a follow-up report in the fall, which will take one of these several alternatives he's explored, maybe two, and flesh it out and really work, all right, can we really make this happen? With an idea that it might take another year to put it in place, but is this a viable direction for the downtown to go in terms of managing, expanding, working on the economy? So.
Yeah, is this effort getting support from the town?
It is. The effort has many directions it's gone, and some have been met with more favor and some with less favor. Some are ideas people like. And
I meant the town, the political town.
The political town, yes, I think so. He's had an opportunity to meet. Again, his way of operating is typically with small groups. He's, I know, met with many of the members of the Board of Selectmen, been very supportive. The planning staff has been very supportive. Libby's been meeting with him about things. So visitor services, I think he's found everyone very willing to talk and be receptive to trying to think outside the box a little bit, trying to think in new ways about how we manage tourism, how we manage the downtown economy. Yeah.
Anything else on the Remain platter that you would like to share with us at this point? Any projects for the near future that are formulated enough to talk about?
Nothing really specific. If I had to say a direction, I think we are very excited about what's happened with the Hummock Pond Bike Path and really hoping to be able to work with the town on the downtown bike path. I think a lot of people have felt for a long time that that's a bike path whose time has come, and I'm not quite sure how. If there's a way for us to do that, still remains to be seen. But it's something certainly we think should be a priority. So.
And we also talked earlier off camera about NERDA and Remain's involvement with NERDA. And you are pleased with the results of that effort, I gather?
I am. I think we are as a whole. Having a very viable public bus system is critical to this community. There's no silver bullet to solve downtown's congestion in the summer, but the bus system is a huge step in that direction. I think the ridership numbers are up. I think the buses are in good shape, and we're continue to be very supportive of the program.
Do you think it's viable to have a year-round service on some of the routes?
I wish it was, and I think we have to grow as a community if we're going to make that happen, in the sense of growing in our acceptance of public transit. It's so easy to have a car and to drive where you want to go, and the distances are not far, and if you don't have congestion and you have readily available parking, hard to encourage a really viable bus system to exist. But with the right mentality, getting on a bus instead of driving your own car could work. I think it would be very limited in scope in terms of routes. And for buses to be successful, they have to run with a certain frequency. And so there's a real economic hurdle to that I think I don't believe we're there now. And I think that, but could we lengthen the season? Could we lengthen the hours? Could we make it a little more viable? Yeah.
Good. Melissa Philbrick, thank you very much for
Thank you.
joining me this morning.
All right, it's a pleasure to be here.